All right, man. This Supreme Court pick, Kavanaugh, we got to get confirmation, is turning out to be something. Now, I'm going to show you something on my phone. My old trusty wife sent me. Well, I'll just tell it to you. His name was @VeryOkDude on Twitter. He wrote this 7/10/2018, July. How long until @CNN finds some random woman to claim she was raped by Kavanaugh? Lucky guess. Lucky guess. And now we're hearing the same attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, if I got this wrong, but what I just read, the same scumbag attorney that was representing porn star actress, what's her face? I can't think of her stupid name now. You know who? Trump and I had an affair. Stormy Daniels is now representing a third woman who's claiming that Kavanaugh had raped her too. This is as good as it gets for them. This is the best that they've got. I told you, I joke about it. Call in the Cobra. Stormy Daniels again. What's the next best thing? The lawyer that handled that case finding a third lady. Oh yeah, sure, okay. Somebody sent me something, and I'm going to read you something from Zero Hedge, which may touch on this a little bit. But what somebody else sent me in an email showed her, the main accuser, sprawled out on a table from years ago with booze bottles everywhere. Naked, butt naked, on the table. And I went back to the site later, and that particular photo had been removed. But the rest of the story was still there, so that was interesting. And it claims that her father's connected. She's like a CIA asset at the place where she works, and her dad's tied in. They got all the names, and this person's out. Like, they got it all laid out. So then I see this from Zero Hedge. Now I'm feeling pretty damn comfortable. CIA honey trap set. Kavanaugh accuser, CIA ties. Global Intel Hub, Zero Hedge exclusive. Posted, actually yesterday, 9/23/2018. There's that number, 9/23. A Supreme Court judge, Brett Kavanaugh, is tied up in a controversy that can prevent him from being elected to the Supreme Court for life. All of the other witnesses have come forward and stated that they have no recollection of this so-called event, this rape or whatever, and have taken a step further to say that Brett Kavanaugh is an honest, ethical, and respectable individual. Here's what they said. Everyone at the party has said they have no idea what Christine Blasey Ford is talking about. Or Blasey Ford is talking about. Even her longtime friend, Leland Ingham Kaiser. Also potentially damaging to Blasey Ford's claim is a theory represented Thursday by Ed Whalen, a former clerk to the USSC Justice, you guessed it, Mr. Scalia, and currently president of the Ethics and Public Policy Center, a conservative think tank, using entirely circumstantial evidence, which could certainly ruin the life of the man at the center of the news story. Whalen suggested that Kavanaugh's high school doppelganger, Chris Garrett, may have in fact been responsible for Blasey Ford's recollection of the alleged incident. Before we dig deeper, this is another part. Before we dig deeper, let's understand deep state forces are a tiny bit bitter. Okay? The CIA et al., this means in Latin in friends, utilize a number of techniques to achieve their goals, and that is whatever works. Character assassination, roll with it. He has $2 and a wife, doesn't matter. Assassinate his character. Because if that son of a gun gets in that seat, the Supreme Court, and we now have an official 5-4 ruling on everything Trump wants, the deep state is pretty much finished. This is an absolutely critical step that this man gets in there. And that's why the deep state is pulling out all stops. Roll with a third accuser, second accuser, then a third accuser. Bring in, call in the Cobra's assistant. Who's that? The scumbag lawyer who represented porn star actress Stormy Daniels, who again was talking about all the poor kids at the border, while she's stripping right down the street, didn't want to go stop and deal with any of these poor kids detained at the border. Again, it's all politics, and when we use the word politics, what that means is gangster tactics. That's what the word politics actually should mean. Gangster tactics. Attack this person, destroy their character, don't ever let them get a job in their field again, just so that they don't get picked and our criminal over here does get picked. This is what the CIA has done many, many years, probably since their inception, to be honest with you. This is nothing new for them. It's just like it's nothing new for CNN to roll the fake news, the fake poll. They can't do anything else. They cannot come to you and say, we're going to report on news today. They don't have that capability. They only know how to send you propaganda and fake news. Which means what? They're trying to form your opinion. They're supposed to tell you what and how to think. So notice none of the mainstream media, maybe Fox News, that's about it, is talking about anything else other than this garbage. Like I said, when I was at the Litecoin Summit, I'm walking by, I see a TV, accuser, Kavanaugh accuser. I was literally talking about fake news with Desiree and Jan. I think we're actually walking up to my room to do this little seance, treasure ceremony, psychic thing. And we were talking about fake news, and we're walking, TV's on, I see the headline, the talking head up there all serious, and I'm like, look, we were just talking about fake news, look at this, look at the headline. And we just walked on by. And we walked on by, la 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 la. Here we go. So yeah, before we dig deeper, let's understand the deep state forces are just a little bit, bitter. The CIA, at all means, Linton and friends, utilize a number of techniques to achieve their goals, as in whatever works. If a man attacks a woman, or a woman attacks a man, or a man attacks a man, we have to be politically correct here, unbiased, right? Or an animal attacks a man, or a man attacks an animal, or an alien attacks a man, or a woman, or an animal, it's not right. We are not by any means saying that it's okay for anyone to abuse anyone, verbally, emotionally, physically, indirectly. But let's stop right there. What actually happened here? Something that cannot be verified into he said, she said insanity. Was there any injury? If it was such a crime, why wasn't it reported at the time? When the memory, was fresh? Why was there not other similar incidents? If you do your research, when people have real problems, it usually manifests itself again and again. After seeing the CIA in action against information heroes like Julian Assange, we created a simple hypothesis based on history, based on their traditional modus operandi, or their MO. What if this incident was a total fabrication, part of a CIA honey trap? To test our hypotheses, we did a simple Google search to see if there were any keyword relations including Clinton's and CIA, and sure enough, all 10 of the top 10 results, including the most interesting story which has already been reported. This person's father works for the CIA, but not only that, he was an executive of the bank that handles the CIA's black budget. You can't make this up. See the report here, which I'll link to Zero Hedge. You can read it yourself. And then they link to the actual report. Christine's father has worked and still works for the CIA. So this is the accuser's father, just so happens to work at the CIA. In addition to the other info that has recently surfaced, an article from the Impious Digest states that Christine's father, Ralph G. Blasey Jr., had worked for the CIA and was a vice president at one time for the National Savings and Trust Black Budget Bank, allegedly known for funding CIA deep state operations. Now, when I heard that word, National Savings and Trust, I was a kid, but my brain goes back to 80s savings and loan crisis. And then the Iran-Contra scandal, which was tied in there and all that. And I thought to myself, as I was reading this earlier, I wonder if that crisis was started. Could you imagine if we find out that some of this banking, bankster stuff we think is just banksters, actually like CIA? And that's why they got to get bailed out, And I thought, wouldn't that be a hell of a story? So, the article does cite numerous articles for this claim, stating that linked to Dr. Blasey's SVR file of known and or suspected CIA operatives. This report notes it is that of her father, Ralph G. Blasey Jr., a proven CIA operative who, from June 1962 to January 1974, was the vice president of the National Savings and Trust of Washington, D.C., a CIA black budget bank best known for being 100 paces from the White House, and whom in 1998 was taken over by SunTrust Bank, whose majority share owner is the CIA-linked investment fund BlackRock. The importance of noting the CIA banking connections of Ralph G. Blasey Jr., this report explains, is due to the outbreak of what is now known as the CIA Bank War, and whose start of, I think we're about to find out what I was just saying, and whose start of in 1982, again, when was the savings and loan crisis? 1980s. And whose start of in 1982, a CIA seized from publication news report, declassified in part, sanitized copy approved for release 2012, September 5th, 2012, and there's a number, whatever, describes as this is Wall Street, the center of the international banking system, a system on the edge of a crisis so severe that the Central Intelligence Agency is preparing drastic measures. Something must be done to avert the breakdown of the free world's monetary system. So that was declassified in 2012 from something that was in the early 80s. The article also states that Blasey Jr. is still a vice president for a security guard corporation that provides protection to deep state entities. Now, I'm just, conspiracy mind's been flipped on, activated. Security company. Like some of the security companies that were involved in some of those shootings? I don't know. Let's continue on. CIA black money operative Ralph G. Blasey Jr. remains secure too, and who today is the vice president of business development of Redcoats Inc., whose Admiral Security Services provide armed security for deep state elites in Washington, D.C., that is overseen by Redcoats Inc., co-founder and vice chairman William F. Peel III, and whose Data Watch Systems Peel III also controls, has U.S. government contracts extending till 23rd of June 2023 under the category of 246.42.1 to provide U.S. defense and intelligence agencies with facility management systems to include accessories and repair parts, computerized systems for surveillance, monitoring, controlling, and signaling, and reporting multiple functions. So this company that they're tied to is essentially helping spy. That's what this means. Spy on, probably President Trump and everything else. Now it says whether or not this is 100% accurate, we cannot say, but it does give some insight on potential motives on why Ford decided to come out now instead of earlier. It is also important to note that Blasey Jr. did, in fact, know of a researcher while at the CIA, Stanford University psychiatric professor Dr. Frederick D. Melges, who helped craft the highly publicized and widely controversial MK Ultra mind control program. Interesting. Christine, to reiterate, is a professor at the same university working on psychotherapy, especially the effects of psychotropic drugs on children. Pizzagate. Ooh. Whoa. Where are we going with this? Let's also remember that we have seen this before. Take a look at the case of Julian Assange, who was facing serious charges, and these charges were originally what led him to hide, not charges against WikiLeaks itself. Just take a look at this example of Julian Assange's accuser. Remember that? Did we forget that already? What has most engaged the conspiracy theorists and Assange's more excitable defenders, however, are a few key incidents in Miss A's career. In particular, she is said to have worked in the Swedish embassy in the U.S. and wrote her university thesis in 2007 on a vision of Cuba after the death of Castro. This has led to widespread allegations that this woman is a CIA asset, planted as a honey trap to bring down Assange. One blogger notes, quote, Assange just happens to meet a Swedish woman who just happens to have been publishing her work in a well-funded anti-Castro group that just happens to have links with a group led by a man at least one journalist describes as an agent of the CIA, the violent secret arm of America's foreign policy. All in a day's work. For a very detailed and well-documented case about the CIA Black Bank, which is interesting reading, see this article from Impious Digest, an intriguing, in-depth new Foreign Intelligence Service, or SVR, report circulating in the Kremlin today states that a Stanford University psychiatry professor named Dr. Christine Blasey has become the latest centerpiece of a U.S. Central Agency, or CIA, plot to harm President Trump with her last-minute allegation just days prior to U.S. Senate confirmation that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh had attempted to sexually assault her over 30 years ago when they were teenage schoolchildren. While being kept from the American people about Dr. Blasey is that she currently oversees the CIA undergraduate internship program Stanford University, developed by the notorious CIA-connected Stanford University psychiatric professor, again, Dr. Frederick T. Melges, or however you pronounce his last name, who himself in 1985, took into his case the homeless woman Lois Lang, who assassinated CIA paymaster Nick Deak, and that afterwards saw the CIA's black operation monies being controlled by Ralph G. Blasey Jr., who, not so mysteriously, just happens to be the father of Dr. Christine Blasey. Of course, this theory is perfectly, logically, and legally impossible to prove, as the CIA operates under the explicit cover of national security. Can't look at that. Redact that one. Redact. Don't view it. Don't let the people look through it. Where were we? Which is the end-all, be-all of the shadow government. What this means is simply, and I gotta stop. I'll say it again. I've said it. I gotta say it again. Ron Paul, when he was running for president years ago, and he said one of the things that helped him not become president was when he said he would like to dismantle the CIA. Now, you and I, or I should say some of you, because I don't know all of y'all, but some of y'all and me knew that's our guy. He knows about the deep state CIA, yes. Everybody else, mainstream media, this guy is unelectable. What the hell is he talking about? Dismantle the CIA? Is he crazy? What are we going to do about all these foreign nationals and security? Oh, my God. But he was right. Truth goes through three phases. First, it's ridiculed, which was what was happening with Ron Paul. Ridicule him. Second, it's violently opposed, which is happening right now, accusing him of rape, this other guy of rape. And third, it becomes common knowledge. The CIA's black budget, black ops, shadow government. Becomes common knowledge. Oh, everybody knows that. Even my sister, one day I'll talk to her about it. Oh, everybody knows that. What? Andrea, you used to tell me and Dad to shut up at your house. It's conspiracy. Everybody knows that? That's exactly what's going to happen. Of course, this theory is perfectly, logically, and legally impossible to prove, again, because they operate under the national security apparatus. So again, what this means is simply that this is just another cut in the death by 1,000 cuts approach taken by deep state Democrats and crooked Clinton supporters, which will do anything to justify their own means, to avoid restoration of the rule of law, and defend and or cover up their own illegal acts in any way possible. Stay tuned. This is getting interesting. That's a Big 10-4. So again, I will link this in case you want to check some of the links out for yourself, or as my wife would sometimes say, your own self, right? Your own self. Whole half. What's the whole half thing? Like, what was that? Oh, that's another phrase. This is patented. You can't use it. It's copyrighted. Evelyn's copyrighted. You still have a whole half of a sandwich left. Evan, can't you just say you have half a sandwich left? I got to make you laugh at the end of this because this is ridiculous. This, I mean, this is real. This is actually real. This is really happening. Crazy. But like Q warned us, get ready for next week, which is this week. It's going to be real interesting. And boy, if we started off with a bang for Monday. Holy moly. So, anyway, take care.